There are quiet signs the body gives when life is nearing its final chapter, signs most people miss until it's too late. These 7 warnings matter more than words. Stay until the very end, because the last one is the clearest signal, and the one families need to understand most: fading interest. We often measure life by its vibrancy, by the engagement someone has with the world around them. We see their love in the way they ask about our day, the way their eyes light up when their favorite team scores a goal, or the simple, consistent ritual of reading the morning paper with a cup of coffee. These are the threads of connection, the small, daily acts that weave the fabric of our relationships. They are how we feel the presence of the person we love. So when that starts to fade, it can feel like a profound and personal loss, almost like a rejection. This is often one of the very first and most subtle signs that a change is underway. It's what I call the great withdrawal, or the fading interest. It doesn't happen overnight. It begins quietly, almost imperceptibly. The television, once a constant source of news or entertainment, stays off for hours, then days. The crossword puzzle book, once a constant companion on the bedside table, gathers a thin layer of dust. The daily phone calls to friends or family cease. They may stop asking about the neighbors or the latest family news, topics that once formed the core of your conversations. When you share a story that would have once elicited a laugh or a flurry of questions, you might be met with a simple, quiet nod, their gaze distant. They seem to be turning inward, pulling their energy away from the external world and focusing it on a place we can't see. For a caregiver, a son, a daughter, or a spouse, this can be incredibly painful. It can feel like you are becoming invisible to them, like the shared world you built together is slowly dissolving. You may feel a pang of grief, a mourning for the connection that is being lost, even while they are still physically present. It's a lonely and confusing place to be, and it's natural to wonder, have I done something wrong? Do they not care anymore? The silence can feel like an accusation, and the lack of engagement like a wall between you. It's so important to understand what is happening here on a deeper level. This withdrawal is not a conscious decision to push you away. It is not a sign that they no longer love you or care about your life. It is a profound, instinctual, and necessary conservation of energy. Imagine the body and spirit as a vast and busy company. For decades, this company has had departments for everything: for work, for hobbies, for social gatherings, for managing finances, for keeping up with global news, even a department for worrying about the future. It has been a thriving, bustling enterprise. But as the company prepares for its final, most important project, the transition of life, it begins a natural and wise process of downsizing. It knows it cannot sustain the same level of output. The body, in its infinite wisdom, understands that it no longer has the resources to run every department at full capacity, so it starts to close down the non-essential ones. The department of social obligation, the one that worries about what others think, is one of the first to go. The department of future planning, which concerns itself with next week or next year, also quietly closes its doors. The energy that once flowed outward to power these activities is now being carefully redirected inward for the immense work that lies ahead. This is not an act of rejection, it is an act of profound preparation. So how do we, as loving witnesses to this process, respond? Our first instinct might be to try and re-engage them, to pull them back into the world they seem to be leaving. We might try to spark their interest, saying, "Dad, look, your favorite team is playing," or "Mom, let's call your sister. You haven't talked to her in a while." While these actions come from a place of deep love, they can sometimes create more stress for the person who is withdrawing. They may not have the energy to meet our expectations, and this can create a sense of guilt or failure for them, making their retreat even more pronounced. The most loving response is to shift our own expectations. This is the first great act of letting go. Instead of trying to pull them back into our world, we must learn to gently enter theirs. Their world has become smaller, quieter, and more internal, and so our presence must adapt to this new landscape. This is the time for quiet companionship. It means sitting with them in comfortable silence, simply being in the same room. The need for conversation is replaced by the power of presence. Your calm, loving energy in the room is a form of communication in itself. It says, I am here. You are not alone. I will not abandon you on this journey. You can try holding their hand. The simple, warm contact of your touch can be more reassuring than 1,000 words, grounding them when they feel adrift. It anchors them, letting them know they are safe and loved without demanding anything in return. You can also try playing their favorite music softly in the background. Not the loud, energetic music of their youth, perhaps, but something soothing and familiar, a hymn, a piece of classical music, or a ballad they always loved. Sound can bypass the need for cognitive engagement and speak directly to the heart and memory, offering comfort without effort. You can read to them, even if they seem to be sleeping or unresponsive. The gentle cadence of your voice, reading a beloved poem, a scripture passage, or even just a simple story from their childhood can be incredibly comforting. It is a familiar sound in a world that is becoming unfamiliar. Think of yourself not as an entertainer trying to get a response, but as a guardian of their peace. Your role is to create a serene and safe environment where this natural process of turning inward can unfold without pressure or demand. It requires a profound letting go on our part, letting go of the person they were and embracing the person they are in this very moment. It is in this quiet space, free from the need to talk or to do, that a new, deeper form of connection can be found. You are no longer relating through shared activities, but through a shared state of being. And that is an incredibly sacred space to occupy. This fading interest is not an ending of your relationship. It is an invitation to learn a new language of love, one spoken not with words, but with presence, with touch, and with the quiet honor of bearing witness. Body conserving. The next set of signs involves the physical body, and they are often the ones that cause caregivers the most anxiety. We are conditioned to see eating well and being active as signs of health and vitality. When our loved one begins to sleep more and eat less, our internal alarms can go off with deafening intensity. It feels fundamentally wrong, a violation of the natural order of care, and our instinct is to intervene, to fix it. But just like the fading interest, these physical changes are a natural and purposeful part of the body's wisdom as it prepares for its final journey. The body is conserving its precious, dwindling resources for the most essential task ahead. Let's talk about appetite and thirst first, because this is a source of so much worry and guilt. You'll notice a significant decrease in their desire for food and drink. A person who once enjoyed 3 full meals a day might now only pick at their food or refuse it altogether. Their favorite comfort foods, the ones you lovingly prepared, may sit untouched on the bedside table. It is heartbreaking to watch. Our desire to nurture is so deeply tied to providing food. It's how we've shown love since they were children and how they showed love to us. When that food is rejected, it can feel like we are failing them in our most fundamental duty of care. The fear that they are starving to death is a very real and painful one for many families. But here is a gentle and crucial truth. As the body nears the end of life, its systems begin to shut down. The digestive system, which requires a tremendous amount of energy to process food and liquids, is one of the first to slow its operations. It's like a factory gracefully closing its production lines. The body no longer needs or can handle the fuel from large meals. Forcing food or liquids on someone at this stage can actually cause them more discomfort. It can lead to nausea, bloating, a painful feeling of fullness, and even a risk of choking or fluid buildup in the lungs. They are not starving in the way a healthy person would. Rather, their body is signaling that it is finished with the task of digestion. It has other, more important work to do. So, what is the loving response? It is to honor the body's signals and release our own need to see them eat. Let go of the goal of a full plate. Instead, focus on providing comfort. Small gestures become immensely important now. You can offer a small spoonful of ice cream, a sip of their favorite broth, some pudding, or some applesauce. If they accept it, wonderful. Cherish that small moment of pleasure. If they turn their head away, that's okay too. Respect their refusal without taking it personally. The focus shifts entirely from nutrition to pleasure and comfort. One of the most important things you can do is to provide gentle mouth care. As they drink less, their mouth can become very dry and uncomfortable. You can use a small sponge swab dipped in water to moisten their lips and mouth. A little bit of lip balm can prevent chapping. These small acts of care provide immense relief and dignity. Alongside the decrease in appetite, you will almost certainly see a dramatic increase in sleep. They will spend more and more time sleeping, and when they are awake, they may seem drowsy or lethargic. It can feel like you are losing them to a sea of sleep, that they are absent even when present. But again, this is the body's wisdom at work. This is not the ordinary sleep of a tired person. It is a profound state of energy conservation. It's a detachment from the physical world. Imagine a great ship preparing for a long voyage. It pulls up its anchors and detaches from the shore long before it disappears over the horizon. This sleep is a form of detachment, a pulling in of all energy for the journey ahead. During these times, it's important to let them sleep. Don't feel the need to wake them for meals or to talk. Their work is being done in that state of deep rest. When they do have moments of lucidity, however brief, cherish them. Speak to them in a calm, soft voice. Let them know you are there. Even in their deep sleep, many believe the sense of hearing is one of the last to go. Continue to talk to them, to share memories, to read to them, to play their music. Assume that on some level, your loving words are being received. Your presence continues to be a powerful anchor, even if they cannot acknowledge it. Finally, as the body conserves energy, the circulatory system also begins to change its focus. It pulls blood flow away from the extremities, the hands, arms, feet, and legs, to support the core vital organs, like the heart and lungs, for their final work. This leads to some noticeable physical signs. You may find that their hands and feet feel cool or even cold to the touch. Their skin may also take on a pale, bluish or purplish hue, particularly on the knees, feet, and hands. This is known as mottling. It can look alarming, like a web-like pattern of bruising under the skin. It's important to know that this is a normal, expected sign of circulation slowing down. It is not painful for the person. The most comforting response is to place a warm, soft blanket over them, but avoid using electric blankets or heating pads, as their skin is very fragile at this stage and could be easily burned. These signs are simply the body's final, gentle preparations, a physical manifestation of its energy pulling inward for the last time. Breathing changes. Of all the signs that can occur as someone approaches the end of their life, the changes in their breathing patterns can be the most distressing for loved ones to witness. Breathing is the very rhythm of life itself. It's the first thing we do when we arrive in this world and the last thing we do when we leave. It's so constant, so automatic, that we rarely pay it any attention. When that rhythm is disrupted, it can trigger a deep primal fear in us. It can sound like a struggle, and our immediate compassionate thought is that our loved one is suffering, that they can't get enough air. It is absolutely vital to understand that what we are seeing and what they are experiencing are often two very different things. As the body continues to slow down, the automatic centers in the brain that control breathing begin to be affected. The body's need for oxygen is decreasing dramatically, and the brain adjusts accordingly. This results in very distinct and noticeable changes in the rate, rhythm, and depth of each breath. You might first notice that their breathing becomes more shallow. The deep, regular rise and fall of the chest is replaced by smaller, quicker breaths. Then you may start to observe periods of very rapid breathing, followed by periods of very slow breathing. This irregularity can be unsettling because it breaks the pattern we associate with peace and rest. One of the most common and dramatic patterns is a type of breathing known as Cheney-Stokes respiration. This is a very specific cycle that can be alarming if you don't know what it is. The breathing will start off shallow, then gradually get deeper and faster, reaching a peak of effort. Then it will gradually get shallower again, until it stops altogether for a period of time. This pause in breathing is called apnea, and it can last for a few seconds up to a minute, or even a bit longer. For the person at the bedside, those seconds of silence can feel like an eternity. You may find yourself holding your own breath, your heart pounding, waiting and watching, terrified that they won't start breathing again. And then, Just as panic begins to set in, the cycle will start over with another shallow breath. It is so important to hear this, to let it sink deep into your heart. During this time, the person is almost always unconscious and completely unaware of these changes in their breathing. The appearance of struggle is our projection of fear onto a natural physiological process. They are not gasping for air. They are not feeling suffocated. They are not in pain from this. Their body is simply beginning to shut down its systems, including the one that regulates respiration. It is a sign that the end of life is drawing near, often within hours or a few days. Another sound you might hear is a rattling or gurgling noise as they breathe in and out. This is sometimes referred to as the death rattle, a term that is unfortunately very frightening and clinical. A more gentle and accurate way to think of it is as the sound of terminal secretions. Because the person is no longer able to cough or swallow, effectively saliva and other normal fluids can collect in the back of their throat and in their upper airways. As air passes through these fluids with each breath, it creates that rattling sound. Again, this can be very hard to listen to, but a consensus among hospice and palliative care experts is that this is not distressing for the person experiencing it. They are in such a deep state of unconsciousness that they are not aware of the buildup. The sound is much more upsetting for us than it is for them. So, how do you respond to these profound changes? The first and most important thing is to manage your own anxiety. Your calm presence is the greatest gift you can offer. If you are panicking, it will change the energy in the room. Take a deep breath yourself. Remind yourself that this is a natural part of the process and that your loved one is not suffering from it. There are a few simple things you can do to provide comfort. You can try gently turning their head to the side. This uses gravity to allow some of the secretions to drain from their mouth, which may quiet the rattling sound. You can also ask a nurse about the possibility of elevating their head slightly with a pillow, which can sometimes make breathing a little easier. However, trying to clear the secretions with suctioning is often not recommended at this stage, as it can be invasive and cause more agitation than relief. The goal is comfort, not intervention. The best thing you can do is to continue to be a loving presence. Sit by their side, hold their hand. Speak to them in a calm, reassuring voice. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that it's okay to rest. Your voice, your touch, and your peaceful energy can help ensure that their final journey is one of tranquility, not fear. The changing. Breath is not a battle to be fought. It is the rhythm of life slowing to a gentle, peaceful close. It is the final lullaby. Understanding this allows you to stay present and loving, transforming a moment that could be frightening into one of profound, peaceful vigil. Your role is not to fix their breathing, but to honor the final sacred rhythm of their life. Mind wandering. As we journey closer to the final moments, we often encounter a phase that can be deeply confusing and disorienting for family members. This is a state of mind wandering, often called terminal delirium or terminal restlessness. It's a period where your loved one may seem confused, agitated, or disconnected from the reality that you and I share. They might say things that don't make sense, see people or things that aren't there, or seem to be living in a different time and place altogether. This can be one of the most perplexing and emotionally challenging signs to witness, because it feels like the essence of the person you know, their mind, their personality, is slipping away. This state can manifest in many different ways. They might start picking at their bed sheets or clothes restlessly, as if trying to accomplish an urgent, invisible task. They may become agitated, trying to get out of bed, insisting they need to go home, even when they are in their own home. This desire to go home is incredibly common and can be very poignant. It's often not a literal desire for a physical place, but a deeper symbolic yearning for a place of peace, of completion, a return to source. It's a call from the soul to be at rest. Perhaps one of the most common and striking aspects of this phase is when they begin to talk to or see people who are not physically in the room. Very often, these are loved ones who have already passed away. They might have a full conversation with their own mother, a deceased spouse, or a sibling who died years ago. They might reach out their hands to an empty space in the room and smile as if greeting a welcome visitor. For an observer, This can be jarring and even frightening. Our logical minds want to correct them, to say, "No, Mom, there's no one there. You're just confused." But it's so important to understand the loving and appropriate response here. This is not the time for reorientation. Arguing with them or trying to pull them back into our reality will only cause them more distress and confusion. Their reality has shifted, and our job is not to police its boundaries. The most compassionate thing we can do is to enter their world with them. Instead of correcting, we must connect. If they say, "My mother is here, she's waiting for me," a gentle response might be, "How wonderful, is she beautiful? Tell me about her." Or simply, "I'm so glad she's here with you." You are validating their experience, not challenging it. You are providing reassurance that what they are seeing is okay, and by extension that they are okay. The cause of this mind wandering is complex and not fully understood. It's likely a combination of factors: metabolic changes in the body, decreased oxygen flow to the brain, and the effects of the body's systems slowing down. But many people, including many hospice professionals and those with deep spiritual beliefs, also see this in a different light. They see it not as confusion but as a part of the transitioning process itself. They believe that as a person gets closer to death, the veil between this world and the next becomes thinner. The visions of deceased loved ones are seen not as hallucinations, but as greeters, as a welcoming committee coming to help them on their journey. Whether you view this through a clinical lens or a spiritual one, the proper response remains the same. Provide reassurance and a calm environment. If they are restless, don't try to restrain them, as this can increase agitation. Instead, use a soft voice and a gentle touch. Hold their hand and say, "You are safe. I am right here with you." Sometimes, simply playing soft, familiar music can soothe their agitation. Reducing the number of people in the room and dimming the lights can also help to create a more peaceful atmosphere, reducing stimuli that might be overwhelming. This phase can be emotionally exhausting for you as a caregiver. It requires immense patience and a willingness to let go of your own need for logical sense. It can feel like you are speaking to a stranger in the body of your loved one. But if you can see it not as them losing their mind, but as their spirit preparing for a journey, it can transform the experience. You are being given a window into a sacred and mysterious process. By meeting them where they are, with love and acceptance, you are providing the most profound comfort imaginable. You are being their anchor in a shifting reality, assuring them that no matter where their mind may wander, they are not alone, and they are deeply loved. Final rally. There is a phenomenon that can happen in the final days or hours of a person's life that is as beautiful as it is bewildering. It is a sudden, unexpected burst of life and energy, a moment of startling clarity that seems to defy the entire dying process. This is often called the final rally, terminal lucidity, or the last hurrah. For families who have been watching their loved ones slowly decline, becoming more distant and unresponsive, this can be an incredibly powerful and often confusing experience. Imagine this: your loved one has been unresponsive for days, sleeping constantly, unable to eat or speak. You have adjusted to this quiet reality, this slow fade, and then one afternoon, they suddenly open their eyes. But they are not just open, they are clear, focused, and full of recognition. The light is back. They might sit up in bed, look directly at you and ask for a favorite meal, and actually eat a few bites of it with relish. They might speak in full, coherent sentences, sharing memories, asking about the family, and expressing their love with a strength and clarity you haven't seen in months. They seem for a brief, miraculous window of time to be their old self again. For families, the immediate reaction is often a powerful surge of hope. It can feel like an answered prayer. Could this be it? Are they getting better? Have we turned a corner? It's a completely natural and understandable response. You want so desperately for them to stay, and this moment feels like a miracle, a genuine reprieve from the inevitable. It can be a time of incredible connection and joy. You get to have one more meaningful conversation, one more shared laugh, one more moment of clear mutual love. It is so important to embrace this moment for the absolute gift that it is. Do not question it in the moment. Do not analyze it. be fully present for it. If they want to talk, listen with your whole heart. If they want to share a memory, share one back. If they express their love, receive it and express yours with all the love you possess. This is a window of grace. It is a final opportunity for closure, for goodbyes to be said, for forgiveness to be asked or granted, for love to be affirmed in the clearest of terms. Many families look back on this final rally as one of the most precious and meaningful gifts of the entire end-of-life process. However, it is also important to hold this experience with a gentle understanding of what it most likely represents. While the exact physiological cause is not known, it is thought to be a final surge of the body's energy reserves, perhaps a release of hormones or a last powerful firing of the synapses in the brain. It is not typically a sign of recovery. More often than not, this burst of energy is followed by a rapid decline as the person returns to a state of deep sleep and unresponsiveness, often for the final time. The rally has expended the last of their physical energy. Knowing this can be heartbreaking, and it's why this experience is so emotionally complex. It's a moment of great joy tinged with the deep sorrow of impending loss. It's an emotional whiplash. It can feel like a cruel trick if you allow your hopes to soar too high. The key is to hold it in a balanced way. Cherish the gift of the moment without attaching to the expectation of a future. Accept it as a final, beautiful chapter, a grace note at the end of a long and complex symphony. If you are blessed with a moment like this, treasure it. Let go of the medical context for a little while and just be with the person you love. This is their final gift to you, a moment of clarity to say what needs to be said, to connect one last time. It's a powerful reminder that the person you have always known and loved is still there, beneath the surface of the illness and the dying process. It's a final, brilliant flare of their spirit before it continues on its journey. The final rally is a mystery, a paradox of life within death. It is a sacred time, a moment, suspended between two worlds, and to be a witness to it is an incredible, unforgettable honor. It's a final, profound expression of love and a memory that will comfort you for years to come. Loving presence. We have walked through the key signs that may indicate life's journey is drawing to a close. The fading interest, the body's conservation of energy, the changes in breathing, the wandering of the mind, and the potential for a final rally. Recognizing these signs is an act of knowledge. It arms you against fear. But how we choose to be during this time, how we show up for our loved one, is an act of profound love. This final chapter is not about another sign to watch for. It is about what we are called to be. It is about the immense and healing power of a loving presence. There comes a point in this journey where the focus must make a fundamental shift. We must move from doing to being. For most of our lives, especially in our busy modern culture, love is an active verb. We show love by fixing problems, by cooking meals, by driving to appointments, by planning for the future. We are conditioned to believe that our value lies in our ability to do something to make things better. But at the end of life, the script flips. The most powerful and healing thing you can do is often nothing at all. It is to simply be present. The focus shifts away from curing the body and toward comforting the spirit. Your loving presence becomes the central pillar of their care. It is the anchor in the storm, the calm in the midst of profound change. This means intentionally creating an environment of peace and tranquility. Think about the 5 senses. What would be most comforting for them right now? Keep the lighting in the room soft and gentle, as bright lights can be agitating. Open a window to let in fresh air and the sound of birdsong if the weather is nice. Minimize loud, jarring noises. Turn off the blaring television and instead play their favorite soothing music or the gentle sounds of nature. Create a sanctuary, not a waiting room. The sense of touch becomes a primary language of love. When words fail or are no longer possible, touch speaks volumes. A gentle hand on their arm, a soft stroking of their hair, or just holding their hand can communicate more love and security than any words you could say. As their body cools, a warm, soft blanket can provide immense comfort. The sense of smell can also be a powerful tool for peace. A light spritz of a familiar lotion, a dab of a favorite essential oil like lavender on a cotton ball near their pillow, or the simple scent of a fresh flower in the room can create a serene atmosphere, connecting to deep, non-verbal memory. Your voice is one of your most powerful tools. Even when your loved one is unresponsive, it is widely believed that hearing is one of the last senses to fade. Never assume they cannot hear you. Speak to them directly, in a calm and reassuring tone. This is the time to say everything that is in your heart. Don't wait for a better moment. Tell them you love them. Thank them for the life they gave you, for the lessons they taught you, for the memories you shared. Reminisce about happy times. Read to them from a favorite book, a poem, or a sacred text. The content is less important than the loving, familiar cadence of your voice washing over them like a gentle wave. One of the most profound gifts you can offer during this time is the gift of permission. Sometimes a person seems to be holding on, fighting to stay, perhaps because they feel they need to be strong for their family. They may worry about leaving you behind. Speaking the words, "It's okay to go. We will be so sad, but we will be okay. We love you so much, and you can rest now," can be an incredible act of selfless love. It releases them from any perceived obligation to stay and gives them the peace they need to let go when their time comes. It is the final act of putting their comfort above your own pain. Recognizing these signs we've discussed is not about creating a morbid checklist or trying to predict the exact moment of death. That is impossible, and it is not the point. The point is that this knowledge empowers you. It allows you to understand what is happening, to see it as a natural, even beautiful process, and to let go of the fear of the unknown. When you are not afraid, you can be fully present. You can see this time not as a medical tragedy to be endured, but as a sacred and privileged vigil to be honored. This is the final, most important lesson. Your presence is the most powerful medicine you can give. It is a gift that transforms these last days and hours from a time of crisis into a time of profound connection, honor, and love. You are the guardian of their peace, the keeper of their dignity. By just being there, calm, loving, and present, you are honoring a life well lived and providing a safe, loving passage for a spirit preparing to move on. That is the essence and the incredible power of a loving presence.